How's it going here? And welcome to my camera comparison between the Google Pixel 9 and Pixel 9 Pro XL. So like every year, people have the question, should I invest in the Pro model or should I save some money and get the non-Pro model? And camera quality has a big part in making that decision. Now, most manufacturers will give you their better cameras on their Pro models versus their non-Pro models. But this year, just like last year, Google is giving you the same 50 megapixel main sensor on both phones. And unlike last year, they're giving you the new upgraded 48 megapixel ultra wide-angle camera on both models as well. And so just like previous years, you're not going to get the 5x telephoto lens that you get on the Pro model on the non-Pro, which is pretty standard across most manufacturers. But this year, Google is also upgrading the selfie camera on the Pro, whereas you still get the 10.5 megapixel sensor on the non-Pro, you get the 48 megapixel selfie camera on the Pro model. But honestly, after looking at all the photos and videos, to me, the quality on that selfie camera pretty much looks the same. And so all I'm saying is that you can expect to get the same quality photos and videos on not just a selfie camera, but also on the main camera as well as the ultra wide-angle camera. And so after looking at all the photos and videos and you agree with that, then the only real question you have to ask yourself is, how much do you depend on zoom with your smartphone camera? So with the Pro model, you're not only going to get the 5x telephoto camera, which is going to produce sharper images than the 5x digital zoom on the non-Pro, but only if you really have a discerning eye and you like to pixel peep a lot. And on the Pro, you're going to get up to 30 times zoom on your photos, as well as 20 times zoom on your video, whereas on the non-Pro, you're limited to just a 7 or an 8 times zoom on photos, 7 times zoom on video. So again, depending on how much you rely on your zoom is going to depend on probably which model you're going to get, but check out all the photos and videos and let me know what you think. So this is a quick test of the Pixel 9 and Pixel 9 Pro, 4K 30 frames per second. I also got a video boost on that. Obviously, video boost is an option on this. So we'll see how that video boost file comes out and compares to the footage you're seeing here without it. With just a quick 4K 30 frames per second clip, and I'm just trying to use video boost and I think max we can go in like 20 times on the Pro, and we'll go max 7 times on the non-Pro. So you can see what that looks like there. And then back all the way out. Just a quick video boost test on how that compares at 4K 30 without it, and compare it to the standard. So here's a quick test of the blur video on the rear cameras on the Pixel 9 and 9 Pro XL. So this is the artificial background blur or bokeh effect here on the video. And this is the optimal light condition for it with the sun shining directly in front of me. So hopefully this is looking okay. Let me know what you think about the picture quality here. And also there's some construction going down the street. So this is a good test for the speech enhancement microphones here on both these phones. I'll just pan around so you can see what this looks like here into some motion and into the changing light. So with the sun now directly behind me, how this effect looks with the overall exposure of the video. And I'll just pan this way and we'll just start walking so we can test stabilization and how this effect holds up with a little bit more motion here while I'm walking. So let me know what you think about this blur effect here on both the Pixel 9 and 9 Pro XL. Hey everyone, so here's a front-facing camera test on the Pixel 9 and 9 Pro XL. As you can see, I am recording from both front-facing cameras. And this will be at 4K 30 frames per second from each. And obviously I'm outdoors, and you're gonna see a little bit mixed lighting situation. I'm currently in the shade, and you can see the bright sunlight behind me, so the background might be a little bit overexposed. But in the viewfinder, it looks to be handling it fairly well considering how bright that sunlight is right now. And on both, you can actually crop in a little bit to 1.4 on the 9 Pro XL. Let's get that. There we go. So you can actually crop in a little bit tighter. If you want tighter framing on the front-facing camera, we can move out to the wide, full wide, so you get the full field of view. If I turn on this way, you'll see the sun shining directly on me now. As you can see, that evens out the exposure around the overall video here. And let's go ahead and just start walking so we can test some of the stabilization here, side by side. And the 9 Pro XL has that new upgraded 48 megapixel sensor, but in the processing, it seems to come out fairly similar. But let me know what you think side by side here of the Pixel 9 and 9 Pro XL front-facing video. Everyone, so here's a low light video test on the rear cameras on the Pixel 9 and 9 Pro XL. This is at 4K 30 frames per second with the ultra wide angle camera on each to start here. And so there's some background noise going on behind me. There's a little bit of a party, I think, going on. So this is a good test of the speech enhancement on both these. So let me know what you think about the audio quality here as well on both phones. And so let's go into the main lens here on the standard 9 and on the 9 Pro XL. And we'll pan up into those trees because with the wider sensor on the main sensor, it brings in more light, and generally you're going to see more definition, especially into those trees against the dark night background there. And so pan over into this really bright light to see how they handle that really intense street light there. The wider sensors bring in more light and tend to have trouble flaring those lights out. And let's pan around this way and we'll test stabilization as we start walking. And we'll move over into a little bit darker area right here. A little bit less light in this area. So you can see how it does with the light fading out and back in. As you round the corner, you're going to see another bright light again. And also pay attention to micro jitters. That's going to happen more in low light. That's pretty normal for phones here. And as we get here, you can see that really bright, intense light there along the pathway. And so we'll pull up here and we'll pull up into the night sky so you can kind of see how that looks there, if it's getting too bright and noisy or not. At this point in the viewfinder, they both look pretty dark, but that could be different once it's processed. And we'll pan down here, down this alleyway where it's not super bright, but you do get the light coming off my right. So you can see what that looks like here. So let me know what you think about 4K video quality on the 9 and 9 Pro XL here in low light. Everyone, so here's a quick test of the 9 Pro XL's night sight video against the non-night sight because the standard Pro doesn't have that. And so this is both at 4K. So just side-by-side comparison of night sight on the Pro. And again, the standard 9 does not have night sight. Just want to see what that looks like side by side. And with night sight, you don't get access to the ultra wide angle camera. So just be aware of that. And it also processes in the cloud. So you're gonna have, this is gonna have to upload into Google Photos, into the cloud, where Google will process it, and then you'll get it sometime later when it's done. And what I've noticed with night sight, similar to Video Boost, is that it doesn't really boost the colors or it doesn't really boost the lighting, but it just sharpens everything up a bit. So it's noticeably sharper to my eyes, especially if you zoomed in during the day. Much sharper on Video Boost and night sight video here on the Pro. But let me know if you think this will be useful for you in situations like concerts or dimly lit restaurants, and how it compares to the non-night sight video that you're seeing here on the non-Pro. So this could be a reason why you want the Pro, but let me know what you think about the quality here between these two and what you think about night sight video here. Camera test on the Pixel 9 and 9 Pro XL in some low light here at 4K 30 frames per second. And so really quickly, the last time I tested the 9 Pro camera in this same situation, the viewfinder like it does right now, the video looks actually pretty clear, but when I took it off and I looked at it on my computer, it was kind of noisy, and quite frankly the quality wasn't as good, or it just wasn't very good at all. So I don't know how it's going to come out this time, but in the viewfinder both these look pretty good because there is a good amount of light around me, even though it is in low light at night. But it was looking poor quality, just know, like what you're seeing in the viewfinder may not always come out in the end video result. But hopefully this comes out better than the last time. And it's really disappointing because Google has upgraded the 9 Pro's front-facing camera this year to whole new camera hardware. And so you would think it'd be a little bit better, but hopefully this time it goes a little bit better than last time. But anyway, instead of kind of talking through my normal camera test, I'll still walk through it. But let's just talk through reasons why you're going to want the Pro over the non-Pro for the cameras. And so it should be obvious by the spec sheet. The Pro has a telephoto lens and the non-Pro doesn't. They both have the same main wide and the ultra wide angle camera. And so you would think that the results would be exactly the same, but some people want to see the results. And even I'm curious sometimes because for some reason it may not always be exact. And from what I saw in the photo and video results from the main wide and the ultra wide, they both pretty much did look the same. The main camera definitely looked the same. Yes, in some situations it looked a little bit different, but that's because they're two independent shots and things can happen. But for the most part, the main camera, the results to me, for the most part, are pretty much the same. The ultra wide and daylight at the pink salt pond, for some reason on the Pro, it seemed that it was getting confused by the colors coming off of the lake and reflecting into the sky. So you got more of a pinkish hue on the ultra wide angle cameras consistently on the Pro for whatever reason, even though they should be the same ultra wide angle cameras. I'm not sure if that's a problem with the Pro, but I took multiple shots with the Pro and it kept coming out that way. So if you go back and look at the ultra wide angle photos on the Pro versus the non-Pro, you'll probably see those differences. Again, I'm not sure if it's a problem, but that was just happening at that salt lake, and I think it was just because of the colors coming off of the pond and reflecting into the sky for some reason. We're kind of throwing off the Pro for whatever reason, I'm not sure. But those are my observations. But otherwise, the obvious reason is if you're going to want zoom is why to get the Pro, because of that telephoto lens. So at 5x telephoto range, you're going to get crisper shots and video on the Pro than you will on the non-Pro. But if you're not that picky and you're not into cropping into things, you probably won't notice that much, and the regular 9 is going to be more than fine for you. And the other reason is if you want farther zoom. So on the Pro, you can zoom up to 30 times for photos, and on the non-Pro, you're only going to get up to 8 times for photos. And so if you're not really zooming into things very far, I think you're gonna be happy with the 9. If you're not very picky and cropping into zoom shots, then you're probably gonna be happy with the 9 again. But honestly, on the Pro, I think for zoom up to 20 times, it actually looks pretty good. After that, up to 30 times, between 20 and 30, it's okay. You'll see the picture, but the quality starts to noticeably degrade there. So up to 20x on the Pro is pretty good. If you need that kind of zoom range, you're gonna want to get the Pro as well. So, I mean, those are pretty obvious reasons. If you just read the spec sheet, you'll understand the differences in the cameras. But after actually seeing the results, those are my opinions. I think if you're just taking regular photos and videos on the main camera, you're not zooming in a lot. Even the front-facing camera on the non-Pro is supposed to be not worse, but it's just the Pro had an upgraded selfie camera. Even the photos that are coming out of that and the video that's coming out of it, unless you're really picky, you're not going to see much of a difference. The pixel processing pretty much takes over anyway, and it's going to make them kind of look fairly similar. At least that's what I noticed in the shot so far. But do let me know what you thought about this camera test. If you noticed other differences and which of these two phones you'd want to use and for what reason. If I missed anything, let me know. But any other questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. I'm always willing to answer the questions in the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching.